An insider has dropped a bombshell Rangers report as rumors continue to circulate all week long about John Tortorella and his return to the New York Rangers. We now have some clarity on what Chris Drury and the Rangers organization are planning to do with the head coaching position and as it pertains to John Tortorella. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 74% of you who watch these videos are not actually subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with your New York Rangers as they continue to look for a new head coach and what's going to be a very busy offseason, especially in free agency and the draft, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is free and you get to stay up to date with everything happening with the New York Rangers. But let's dive right into it. Rumors have been circulating all week about John Tortorella and his involvement with the New York Rangers moving forward. And if the Rangers want to hire John Tortorella to be the new head coach, and we have some insight, we have some clarity on what exactly is happening. Let's dive right into it. And this is from Sammy, who is a reporter in Washington, normally for the Washington Capitals. And they were hearing from a source, John Tortorella will be joining the Rangers. Now, this came out right after Chris Drury was announced to have signed that multi-year contract extension. And I mean, doing both of these things back to back would be crazy business, first of all. It would be absolutely insane. Now, Rangers fans were up in arms about this. They were like, Chris Drury just signed a multi-year contract extension. A lot of Rangers fans didn't know how to feel about it. Majority of the Rangers fans didn't like it. And then on top of it, John Tortorella is joining the team as the head coach. That is insane. Now, this is from Joseph at HockeyJoseph10. Breaking. Now, keep in mind, this hasn't happened yet at the time I'm recording this. Breaking. The New York Rangers are closing in on signing former Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And at this point, I was like, all right, this is coming from a couple people. There's got to be something here. However, Arthur Staple comes into, for some people, save the day. And he's saying that, hearing that this is incorrect. So this is from the Athletics' Arthur Staple. He's saying that there is nothing to this at this point in time, that John Tortorella now will be joining the Rangers, right? There's nothing to that. Now, let's keep in mind, hearing that this is incorrect in terms of John Tortorella will be joining the Rangers as head coach. Keep that in mind. We're going to get to some stuff in a second. Now, there's multiple insiders that are saying the same thing. This is from Kevin Kurz. As Arthur Staple also said and already mentioned, John Tortorella, as of this moment, is not going to the New York Rangers, I'm told. Carry on with your day, essentially. Now, there's some interesting things we have to get onto in terms of what John Tortorella might be for the New York Rangers. And I don't think it's necessarily the head coach of this team. A lot of people are bringing this up all of a sudden. And again, I wanted to bring this up that it'd be crazy work to do both of those on back-to-back, on the same day, but back-to-back. It'd be absolutely insane. But from NYR Louis and a bunch of others, we're going to get to some other stuff from some other Twitter users as well. But what I've been able to gather is that John Tortorella has interest in being in the front office rather than coaching, but nothing official linking him with the New York Rangers. Speculation is he has a good relationship with Dolan, and we know that. James Dolan was around the last time that he was coach of the Rangers. He was the coach for Chris Drury, who's now the GM of the team. Like, we know that they all like each other, right? They're all fans of each other, and they have a good relationship besides the fact that he got fired. But obviously, all coaches in this league have expiry dates at some point. So I do think that there is something there. I think where there's smoke, there is fire, usually. So that was very interesting. And this is from the Blue Shirt Bulletin as well. Would I rehire John Tortorella as the head coach? No, I wouldn't. Would I offer him a position within the New York Rangers organization to support young and upcoming, fresh coaching staff and players? Absolutely, and without hesitation. And I think that this is actually the way that they should go if they want to indulge in hiring John Tortorella, not as the head coach of this team. John Tortorella should not be the next head coach of the New York Rangers. That would be a mistake. But I would have him somewhere in either the front office or not like an assistant coach, but like an advisor to the head coach or something like that, like a senior position where you can come in and be like, where I think they could go, if they were to do this is very interesting, I think. If they were able to do this, hire John Tortorella as some type of as advisor for the new head coach. You could hire a younger head coach from either the AHL or straight out of college who comes in with fresh ideas that can work with the younger talent, but then you have John Tortorella by his side helping him with, some of the stuff that he might not have in terms of experience. in the league, how to deal with older players, right? How to also deal with younger players. Although I don't know if you want to take that advice from John Tortorella after what just happened with the Philadelphia Flyers, but I think that there is definitely something here. Where there's smoke, there's usually fire, and I think the Rangers are definitely looking at this for a couple of reasons. One, because I think if that is to happen, if he is to take on an advisory role, it makes sense, and we know that they have a good relationship, a lot of them. We know that Dolan has a good relationship. We know that John Tortorella has coached Chris Drury in the past, so I do think that there is something there. So, again, keep saying it over and over. Where there's smoke, there is fire. And one thing that I wanted to get to as well is from Mike Rupp of the NHL Network and formerly New York Rangers. If the plan is to win with this group, I believe there's only 3 correct choices for the next head coach. Number 1, Joel Quenneville. We also, we poured water on that the other day, and, by all accounts, reports from Larry Brooks, a couple other insiders, it's not happening with Joel Quenneville. Now, the other one is John Tortorella. And the third one, he says, is currently coaches another NHL team. I would assume, I think everyone knows that that's Mike Sullivan, who we covered in a video yesterday. This team needs structure, accountability, and to be squeezed. Now, while I do think that's true, I don't think John Tortorella is the man for the head coaching job. But I do think, again, if he can be hired by the team, if he can be within the organization to peek his head through and be like, this is what I would do in this situation, right? Like little things like that, that could help. I could see that, because what this Rangers team needs, besides, I think, a younger coach to work with the younger players that are going to be the core of this group moving forward. We've seen it, right? And they're playing great guys like Brett Berard, Brendan Othman. The list goes on. Gabe Perreault, right? He should be a star in this league as well. We need a coach who can work with those players, right? But we also need a coach who, for the older guys and the guys that, didn't perform last season and all the stuff that happened, all the drama behind the scenes, we need a coach who can be on their butts, right, with that stuff. So, maybe John Tortorella can offer a little bit of that with that. So I think it's an interesting idea. So definitely, again, an interesting idea to bring him in as like an advisor, not as the head coach. And again, just to wrap up here and go over a few things. Again, Arthur Staple has it that this is not happening, at least at this time. It's not happening. John Tortorella is the head coach of the New York Rangers, and a couple other insiders have it as well. And again, I think where there's smoke, there's fire. They all like each other. So I think the relationship is there. I think it could happen. Maybe not as the head coach. I don't think it should happen as the head coach. I want to make that clear as well. He should not be the next head coach of the New York Rangers. But again, as like an assistant type, but not an assistant coach per se on the bench, but like someone in the front office that can come in and kind of help with whoever the new coach is. And again, if the new coach is Mike Sullivan, and again, I think we're just shuffling chairs to a degree on the Titanic at that point, if that happens as well, like because Mike Sullivan was here before, although he went off, had some experience, won some Stanley Cups, it is a little bit different. But, depending on who the new coach is, this could work out. So I do imagine that they're going to hire a head coach first, and then maybe they look at bringing in John Tortorella if John Tortorella isn't offered something in the meantime. So things could get very interesting this summer. That's just how I feel about it. I want to hear how you feel about it in the comments down below. Would you hire John Tortorella as the head coach? Would you not? Do you want him far away from this organization? Are you open to the idea of him being like kind of an advisor to the head coach? I think that's an interesting idea and something that I would be more open to, and actually could end up being a good idea, dare I say. So let me know in the comments what you think, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.